So Fabrics is a BBSRC funded project. It is a very ambitious project to take the Palmaria palmata cultivation, which we also call as red tulls, to next level. Especially what are the bottlenecks, particularly in the hatcheries, and when you try to upscale the biomass from laboratory to the bigger tanks or industrial scale.
Seaweed offers a huge potential for a whole range of industries. We can use it as food, we've eaten it for thousands of years, or we can use it as the basis of a whole range of industries such as textile dyes or bioplastics or fuels. And because seaweed grows so fast, grows without fresh water, it doesn't compete with land crops. So for some of those new industrial applications, it's the ideal feedstock.
It all starts with collecting seaweeds from the field. So we go out to our local beaches, we're very lucky, and collect fertile material. Then we bring it in the lab for them to release the spores. So think of it as like plant seeds, which then in about a week's time, the material releases all the spores. So then they're about 30 to 40 micrometers small. So that's really small, you need a microscope to see them. And then we start to grow them in the lab and monitor them very carefully if they're healthy and happy. If they are, we kind of gradually start scaling them up. So this becomes from 100 mil kind of volume to a 10 liter carboy. And then we bring them in our facilities here where we have a 45 liter tank and then down to the 300 liter tank, which you see here.
So Palmaria has traditionally been quite difficult to grow at scale. It's got a very complicated life cycle. The work we're doing here has helped to understand that life cycle a little bit more and to look at the important points in that life cycle around the hatchery stages in the nursery.
So a critical bottleneck in growing Palmaria palmata or dulls is that it gets infested by a parasite. So this is a widely spread problem. And basically in the early life stages, when there's still a spore, they're very vulnerable to being attacked by this disease, causing large-scale mortality. Basically, it's why this industry doesn't really kick off. So the parasites are actually really small, so that's why we study them with a microscope and with molecular techniques. But despite their very small size, they can actually have a really big impact. For example, people reported up to 90% mortality of these early life stages of the seaweed.
So one of the biggest challenges we've had to face in this project is working with the microbiome of the seaweed in the hatchery and trying to balance that microbiome so that we can introduce beneficial bacteria or ways of controlling that microbiome so that we have the most success in the hatchery and we don't get diseases coming into the hatchery and overgrowing the very early and delicate stages of the Palmaria.
So this is kind of a biocontrol where we use natural grazers or bacterial communities to suppress the disease and suppress it establishing and causing high mortality.
So one of the partners in the project is a company called SeaDyes, and they produce natural pigments from a range of seaweeds, one of those seaweeds being Palmaria. And they are very interested in growing Palmaria because of its pigment profile. And this allows them to create seaweed-based dyes, which don't have the same problems that are associated with some of the synthetic dyes which are used in mainstream manufacturing, which are associated with water pollution, with high carbon usage. So by using seaweed as a basis for these dyes, they can create a more environmentally sustainable product.
So in this fabrics project, we got some exciting results, and as a part of it, we have developed a proof of concept for cultivating Palmaria palmata from spores in the laboratory to the 40 liter tank cultivation system to 300 liter, and we have showed that how you can maintain a consistent 10% daily growth rate. So if we can do with a small research facility at SAMS, I think we have developed the technology which is ready to be translated to the seaweed industry. So anyone who is interested in cultivating Palmaria palmata, which has an established market, so please reach out to us at SAMS and we would be happy to help to develop this Palmaria palmata cultivation technology at a larger scale in a commercial setting.
I think it's amazing how they grew from these tiny individuals to these large seaweeds that we have in these tanks here. So I think it's really cool how to see them grow and be happy and healthy for such a long time.